Hi, I'm Twee Arnott with Remax Hallmark Realty, and thank you for considering using my services as a real estate agent. In this video, I'll walk through the key points outlined in the RECO information guide you've received. This guide is provided by the Real Estate Council of Ontario, otherwise known as RECO, the regulatory body overseeing real estate agents and brokerages. RECO plays a crucial role in regulating real estate agents, educating consumers, and ensuring a safe and informed real estate marketplace. RECO administers and enforces the Trust in Real Estate Services Act 2002. The information you have is part of their initiative to inform and protect consumers like you. You've received this guide because you're either considering receiving services from myself or a real estate agent, or perhaps I'm representing a client in a real estate transaction and you may want to receive assistance from me. As a real estate agent in Ontario, I'm required to provide you this guide before offering any services or assistance. I must also tell you that I'm registered with RECO and I've completed the necessary education and hold a consumer deposit and professional liability insurance. I will summarize the guide with you. This page talks about what is inside the guide: working with a real estate agent, knowing the risk of representing yourself, signing the contract with the real estate brokerage, understanding multiple representation, and how to make a complaint. Working with a real estate agent. Agents in Ontario must be registered. Real estate agents must provide valuable information, advice, guidance to buyers and sellers. For example, if you are a seller, an agent can advise you on the market conditions and best strategies to attract buyers to your home, market and advertise your home, so arranging photographs, videos, virtual tours, provide referrals for other professionals you'll need like a lawyer, a home stager, arranging and attending home inspections and appraisals, arranging showings for interested buyers, advising on how to handle competing offers, what is shared content, and other aspects of the transactions. They also vet offers and potential buyers to ensure that they can afford your home, negotiate with buyers to achieve the best results, and guide you through the paperwork and closing the transaction successfully. If you are a buyer, the agent can assist you with getting a pre-approval, making you aware of any tax exemptions, gather and share information about the neighborhood and homes that meet your requirements, make sure about the zoning and permitting property usage, advising you on best approaches in a competing offer situation, negotiate with sellers to achieve the best results, guide you through the paperwork and closing the transaction successfully, and also providing referrals for other professionals such as home inspectors, lawyers, contractors. You will also benefit from the duties of brokerages owed to you as a client. So, undivided loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, avoiding conflicts of interest. You as a client will also have responsibilities. You must be clear on what you want and what you don't want and share all relevant information. You're also responsible to answer your agents promptly, understand the terms of your agreement, and pay the fees that you've agreed upon. Knowing the risk of representing yourself. If you decide that you want to represent yourself, you are considered a self-represented party, SRP. This means that you've chosen to represent yourself and you have different rights and responsibilities. There is significant risk in representing yourself in a real estate transaction. RECO recommends that you seek independent professional advice before you proceed as a self-represented party. If you choose not to work with an agent, you will be responsible for making sure you inquire about zoning, permitted property usage, determining what the property value is, determining how much you're willing to offer and accept, navigating competing offer situations, and deciding on what terms you want to include in your offer. In the situation, a real estate agent is working for another party in the transaction, it is important that you're aware that the agent is legally responsible to act on the best interests of their client, so the other side. If you are a buyer or just even inquiring about a property, the agent is working for the seller. The agent has a duty to do what's best for their seller client. Just please be aware, the agent cannot provide you with any services, opinions, or advice, and they cannot encourage you to rely on their knowledge, skill, or judgment, encourage you to represent yourself, or discourage you to work with another agent. Any assistance you get from the agent is a service to their client, not you. It is also in the best interest of their client, not yours. And it is to help their client sell or buy the home. The nice thing is you have the right to change your mind. If you are concerned about completing a transaction on your own and you decide that you need the advice of a real estate agent, you can choose to become a client at any time. Signing a contract with a real estate brokerage. So this part talks about the different types of representation: brokerage representation and designated representation. Brokerage representation means that the brokerage and all its agents represent you. Designated representation is one or more of the brokerage's real estate agents is your designated representative. That agent must promote and protect your best interests. The brokerage and the other agents are required to treat you impartially and objectively. So this is important because it reduces the likelihood of multiple representation. What to look for in a representation agreement. Make sure the name of the designated representative is clearly indicated, the scope of your agreement, services that are being offered. So there's no standard set of services. So every brokerage offers a variety of different services. If there's something you specifically need, please make sure that this is in your agreement. Ask the real estate agent about the available services and a combination of services that they offer. The other one is payment and terms. You and the brokerage decide on the amount you will pay for the services. The amount is not fixed or approved by RECO. You can agree to pay a fixed dollar amount or a percentage. Agreements also must clarify the circumstances in which the amounts may change. So if you're the seller, it needs to clearly indicate the amount that you need to agree to pay the brokerage, the amount that you will pay to compensate the buyer's brokerage, and the amount that you will pay if something changes in a multiple representation. On the flip side, if you're a buyer, your agreement needs to clearly indicate the amount you will pay to the brokerage for the services and representations you receive. How the amount you agree to pay will change if the buyer covers some of the fees. How the amount you agree may change if there's multiple representation. Termination provisions. This part says that the agreement should list all the circumstances when the agreement can be terminated. So 2 circumstances could be multiple representation. If you enter into a multiple representation and you don't feel comfortable with it, you can terminate your agreement. The second is changing your designated representative. At any point, if your designated representative changes, you can terminate the agreement if you do not agree. Expiry date. The agreement has an expiry date and it will be predominantly clear on the first page. Holdover clause. Holdover clause is a clause that is required to pay the brokerage even after the representation agreement expires. This clause will specify the time of the holdover clause. For example, let's say if you're the seller and in your agreement there's a 30-day holdover clause. This means that even after the agreement is expired, you may be obligated to pay the brokerage a commission if you sell your home within those 30 days holdover period. Similarly, assuming that you enter into a buyer's agreement that includes a 30-day holdover clause, the agent shows you a home before the expiry date. If you buy that home after the expiry of the agreement, but during the holdover period, you may be obligated to pay the brokerage a commission. Understanding multiple representation. Brokerage representation means that there is representation of both the buyer and seller within that brokerage. Designated representation means that multiple representation exists within the same agent. So the agent is a designated representative for both the buyer and the seller. Multiple representation is not permitted unless each of the clients involved agrees. You should also seek independent professional advice. It is important to understand the risk of multiple representation, so you must treat each client involved objectively and impartially. You cannot maintain undivided loyalty and promote and protect one interest over the other. And you cannot offer advice about such things as price, terms included in the agreement. What to expect before you agree to multiple representation? You need to know what the broker's duties and designated representative duties will change, the difference between the services you'll receive, and any change on the amount paid to the brokers. Ultimately, you can refuse multiple representation if you don't agree. You can ask your real estate brokerage or agent about the alternatives of multiple representations. A note about content in the offers. So here they're just talking about if you are a seller, you can decide how much you can share about the competing offers. Your agent will advise you based on the characteristics of the property, market conditions, and contents of the offers you receive, and other things. You need to provide clear written direction to your agent before the content of any offer can be shared. If you're the buyer, please know that you can decide whether or not you want to participate in a process where your content of your offer may be shared. Your agent can tell you the steps to take to avoid sharing the content, and then also be aware that the seller can make the decision to share the content at any time, and you will not know in advance. Finally, how to make a complaint. First, please contact your brokerage. In many cases, brokerages will be able to mediate and resolve the complaint. But if you decide you want to go a different route, you can contact RECO directly, and here's the information below. This is the acknowledgement page, acknowledging that I've gone through this guide with you and you had the chance to read it. In conclusion, working with a real estate agent involves mutual responsibilities and clear communication. Whether you're a buyer, seller, tenant, or landlord, understanding the terms of your agreement and seeking professional advice when needed is crucial for a successful real estate transaction. If you have any further questions or concerns, please feel free to message me or visit RECO's website for additional information. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to working with you.